we have an opportunity to take stock. We have an opportunity we're being forced to look at our choices. We're being forced to make decisions. Now, I have friends that no doubt have decided that from the moment they went into lockdown, that the bottle of alcohol will become their friend, and that might be the way they see through themselves through these weeks. I hope that at the end of that, I have this fear of the habitual. That some authors, some theorists will say it takes 21 days for a habit to become the normality. Some say it's 30, some say it's 60. I'll have my own opinion on that itself, but the habitual is only within that same thing. So at the end of this, and this goes on two levels, that at the end of the lockdown, so to speak, where they're able to go back out to their own workplace, the ones that have sat and have decided that they're going to use alcohol as a substitute to get them through, I hope that the other side of this is different enough that it breaks their habit of, well, it's certainly they can't wake up in the morning at 10 o'clock and open a bottle of beer if they've got to go to work, so hopefully that changes that habit, and then they're not then condemned to the coming home from work in the moment that they get in at 5:30 or 6 o'clock, that the bottle of beer is their friend to get them through to the next morning or the weekend, or but the other side of that is the intellectual side of me, if there is one, then thinks that if that's for somebody who sees the bottle of beer as their friend to get them through, then the ones that have recognised that the real core part of them enjoys the exercise. Took 6 weeks for them to find that out, probably, that they actually enjoy. And it's not running on a treadmill like they've tried 15 times. It's actually walking in the countryside, particularly with their family members who've enjoyed it too. Or it's going out for a cycle. We know that the bike industry, the bicycle industry has went booming because people are trying to find new ways to adapt to throughout this lockdown. So maybe they found an enjoyment in cycling that they never thought they would. My worry is that when we break the habit of being stuck in, as we are, fundamentally being told to stay at home and enjoying our little bit of exercise and all the rest, that the stretch of you can enjoy a bit more exercise, which is going to come, can mean that you can go for 2 bike rides in a day, or you can go out for longer without feeling guilty. And I've got friends that go out for a 2-hour bicycle ride, but they won't put it on Facebook when they go out for a 2-hour bike ride because of fear of getting into trouble for it from others. I understand why, but that's my flip side to this, is that how can I hope that the ones that found a negative impact to get through this, I hope that they break through that, yet the ones that found a positive, I hope they don't break through that, because it would be a shame that
Sure.
they've asked themselves those questions. And that's the answers that they came up with, obviously.
It could be as well the option that for those who have isolated with the help of something else, when they go back out, it's too much for them.
Yeah.
Even though beforehand they had a job and they were fine socially, it may be too much for them. And it puts me in mind of a story of a king who was looking around his kingdom and saw that everyone was drinking, everyone was doing whatever they're doing, because it was easy, because that was what was available for them. So what he did was he went out the grounds of the city and he picked a path. There was only one entrance, one path into the kingdom and out of the kingdom, okay? and he put a huge big boulder in the middle of that path. And he went to one side to see what would happen. And a merchant came along who was walking into the city to do business with his train of camels and goats and animals and all that. And he had men there, and so he ordered them to move the big rock. And this is a huge thing. You couldn't get around it. It was massive, massive big boulder. And they couldn't move it, so he went up and had a go. And he went, oh, no, it's too much. And he gave up, turned around, and didn't go into the city. And this disappointed the king. And then a while later, a family came along, very rich, very wealthy family came along, and they stopped the carriage and they got out, and they got the people who were the footmen, the horsemen, whoever they were, to try and push the boulder, and tried everything. And lots of them were going around and trying to go round, but they couldn't get around it. And the family had to go, and they couldn't do it. And again, after a while, they gave up as well, got back in the carriage, and went back the way they came. And this is proving the king's point of what his thoughts were about his people, that they were too lazy, and that they were using excuses, if you like, because it was too difficult.
Mm.
And a while later, a shepherd came along with his flock of sheep, again going back into the city after having been out all day. And he looked at this boulder and he thought, and he disappeared for a second. And the king went, there goes somebody else. A couple of minutes later, the shepherd came back with a huge log. And what he did was, he put it underneath the boulder, and of course, using his weight, he counterlevered, and the boulder moved out of his way. And underneath, the king had put a note, and the shepherd picked up the note. Oh, what's this? And it read, "Thank you for proving me wrong. Come to the castle to get your reward, king." And sure enough, obviously, the shepherd went to the castle the next day, obviously because the king had to get back.
Without anyone run ahead of him.
Sure enough, he was made rich. Never had to work again, or he had the option of never working again. And it's that same idea that for whatever reason, good or bad, in lockdown, people innocently believe that the only way to get through is through drink, through drugs, through binge watching TV.
Yeah.
And so what's happening then is, now we're coming to the end of it, they're kind of thinking, oh, what do I do? I'm not used to this, because this is my new normal, because I was told this is going to be for a long time. And they're having to learn to lever that boulder back out the way, to allow them back outside, and to have the life that they want. Not the one they had, but the one they want. And the danger is